I finally got to see Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Should you be watching it? Shang-Chi, an unassuming valet, is forced to confront his past after being drawn into the mysterious and dangerous Ten Rings organization. This is going to be a really easy review because I just had so much fun with this movie. The movie instantly starts with the world building. It gives us a lot of background in a very quick succession on what the Ten Rings are and who controls them, or rather uses them to their advantage. And we don't have to wait long before we see some amazing kung fu and fight choreography. There are moves that you will be familiar with if you've seen movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero, or even House of Flying Daggers, where the characters fly through the air as they fight using the natural surroundings to help propel them. There's a decent buildup of the characters right from the start, but it's not full-blown character development. That comes in pieces as the story progresses, and while sometimes I find it annoying to have a lot of flashbacks, here it works to the story's advantage by keeping us in the present as the narrative progresses, but then it flashes back at the appropriate times to fill in some very important background, whether it's on a character or a situation. I found this approach to be really engaging and made the story arcs even that much more engaging. It allowed certain portions to remain mysteries until they become revealed at the time that would provide the most impact. Simu Liu plays Shang-Chi, and he is just phenomenal. He is very charismatic, which instantly drew me into his performance. He plays the character not so much as a reluctant hero, but more so as someone carrying a lot of hurt and disappointment who is trying to figure out how to reclaim themselves. Leung as Shang-Chi's father is just outstanding. He's able to create a character that is soft and caring, as well as razor sharp and cold in an effective and then believable manner. There are many times throughout the story that I'm conflicted about how I feel about him. Do I love him, or at least understand his plight, or do I loathe him because of his choices? It was never really clear cut, and that made him such a dynamic character. And he also has his full fighting talent on display, which makes for some really great and then convincing action sequences. Meng'er Zhang, which I probably just totally mispronounced, plays Shang-Chi's sister, and I loved what she brought to the story. Now don't expect some wilting flower who sits alone in the background. She was spectacular to watch in her martial arts, and I really enjoyed the air of mystery that surrounds her. She's got her own baggage, which then works to make her character very complex. Now I love the addition of Yeoh in this. We get to see her perform some just awesome martial arts, but what I really love is how soft-spoken she is, which belies her immense strength and power. She's a force to be reckoned with, and she brought a smile to my face the moment that she stepped on screen. Now, so much as I loved all of these characters, Awkwafina stole so much of the show for me. She brings some sarcastic and even awkward humor, but she's also just a really good grounding character. She sometimes conveys our emotions into the film and the story, saying the things that are probably going through our heads just out loud. But she's also not just there for comedic relief. She brings some really great heart to the story, and her chemistry with Simu Liu is amazing. Those two together really make a convincing team with innate timing that makes a duo that we instantly root for. Now, this being a superhero movie, we expect some big, fun action, and this delivers, but in a way we've not really seen before in a Marvel movie. I loved the addition of the kung fu. It is such a beautiful and powerful fighting style which the movie takes full advantage of showing. And the camera work is stunning. There were multiple times where I was trying to figure out just how they were able to capture the action because the actors are in precarious positions and then locations, and all the while we have this camera flying in and around the fight to put us right in the middle of it. I mean, exciting isn't even a strong enough word. It was electrifying and breathtaking. And then when you couple the camera work with the fight choreography and the stunts, I mean, it was just jaw-dropping. All the special effects in this are so much fun too. There's a mystical and fantastical element to the story, and it flows really well within the story. We get to see some really unique and imaginative creatures, which I love how they tie into the Chinese culture. Now we see beings that we've seen represented in carvings and other artwork, but now some are made flesh and blood, and I thought they looked great. There was once or twice inside a fight scene where I thought it looked more computer generated than the actors really performing the moves, but it was happening so quickly and it was only in brief moments, so even if it were CGI'd, I'm able to forgive it because the rest of it looked so great. Now I think the main antagonist might have been a little rushed, where the background info isn't terribly developed. We do get some backstory, but this kind of falls in line with most Marvel antagonists. They're not really the main focus, even though they do provide some backdrop for some exciting climactic action. I still think it worked well with the character motivations and provided the impetus for the character progressions that we get to watch. Now, while there are several high-energy action sequences, the final battle is pretty epic. It's fast-paced and provides a lot of different character moments where we get to see some step into their own, and then others shine even more vibrantly than they had before. As with Marvel movies, there are both mid- and post-credit scenes, so don't get up until it's totally over. So overall, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a beautiful addition to the MCU. We are introduced to characters that are complex and extremely charismatic who I want to see more of. The kung fu and martial arts are beautiful and thrilling with camera work, choreography, and stunts that put us right into the middle of the action. Surprisingly, this movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes, and I never felt the time. The pacing worked to keep me fully engaged, but also provided moments of quietness where the story could dive into its lore and develop it in a rich way. Now, there was finally a screening in my area last night where I saw it, but I'm going again tonight, and I'm even more excited to watch it for the second time. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, and a ton of violence. I give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings 5 out of 5 couches. Have you been excited to see this? Do you have a favorite martial arts or kung fu movie? I'd love to know what it is in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.